Today on Turner Classic Movies, you don't need a whole planet of them to get an ape fix. You just need the one and only monkey monarch King Kong. Then a primate tyke gets into some hairy situations in the...
Next month on TCM, I'm restless, searching for a city that pulses with visions and stories that kiss and run. From avant-garde to animation, I want to discover the hidden treasures from American film archives. Sundays at 9 p.m. I'm searching for a man who's not afraid to roll the dice, who may look like sugar, but taste like spice. I want to find a man like Star of the Month, Glenn Ford, Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. I want to get lost in a world painted with shadows and light. I'm looking for the films of cinematographer Joseph Rutenberg, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. I'm reckless, breathless, shameless, careless. Next month on Turner Classic Movies. I want to be up to something, and I know where I need to go.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, wishing you a very happy Halloween. And we're going to be celebrating with a night of films about vampires. We're going to begin at 8 p.m. Eastern with director Carl Dreyer's visually stunning film about a young man who becomes involved with creatures of the night while visiting a mysterious European village. It's a chilling movie called Vampire. Then at 9:30, celebrated German filmmaker F.W. Murnau directs a tale of a bloodsucker on a search for human victims. It's a chilling tale based on the Dracula legend called Nosferatu. And then at 11 o'clock, Roman Polanski directs and stars in a vampire spoof about an eccentric vampire hunter trying to rescue a woman who's been kidnapped by a bloodthirsty count. It's a movie with Sharon Tate called The Fearless Vampire Killers, or Pardon Me, But Your Teeth Are in My Neck. It all begins tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Turner Classic Movies.
Today on Turner Classic Movies, the sequel to King Kong finds erstwhile showman Robert Armstrong being sued, but he finds a second chance for respectability with the son of Kong. Then a suspicious Robert Cornthwaite is Russian to sign a non-aggression pact with a thing from another world. And our night of vampire classics draws a bead of blood with director Carl Dreyer's Vampire. Turner Classic Movies takes you to the cleaners here today.
Come one, come all, we're gonna have a ball. Just leave your cares and woes and let your troubles fall. You'll find a starry sky behind that cloud you're under. It's such a perfect time for one real wonders.
Grace Kelly, Spencer Tracy,
Vincent Minnelli.
Typical Hollywood story.
damn good actress.
It's awful what a woman can do to a man. Well, look at history. Caesar and Cleopatra.
Napoleon and Josephine.
All of them. Behind every defeated man, there's a frustrated love.
You're right.
You bet I'm right.
When I was nominated for the Oscar, the other pictures were very powerful. Now, anyone with any brains prepares a speech just in case. I didn't. It never occurred to me that I could win. So I prepared nothing. And George Murphy, who was the MC, when he called my name, I just sat there, and he called it again. And I stood up and stumbled onto the stage. George Murphy said, "How did you get the idea for the Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer?" And I stared at him. And I said, "Oh, one day I was in a department store and I saw a Bachelor and I saw a Bobby Soxer. I couldn't believe I said this, but that's what I said. I was totally unprepared."
Cary Grant stays young at heart in The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer. Sunday at 6 a.m. Eastern, only on Turner Classic Movies.
This is your ticket to Turner Classic Movies. Now playing. Man, what a guide. 30 frames per second, 24 hours a day, more than 350 movies per month. Now playing. The official viewer's guide to Turner Classic Movies is out of the bag and ready to roll. Just call 1-800-TCM-1002, and before you know it, Now Playing will be at your door each month as a roadmap to your favorite stars and films on Turner Classic Movies. Now Playing, for only $9.97 per year, it will make you the film leader, acetate and emulsion combined. Month after month, in the pages of Now Playing, you'll get a rack focus on the greatest collection of films anywhere. Ah, movie-licious. It's Now Playing, the viewer's guide that dishes out what's playing when, 24 hours a day, with easy-to-read movie schedules that tells you who's in them and who made them, along with highlights of TCM's monthly stars and director tributes, film festivals, and weekly showcases. Now Playing, it's the extreme close-up projector of the future. Plus, each copy of Now Playing brings you a behind-the-scenes cover story written by our own Robert Osborne, who shares his years inside Hollywood with you. Now Playing. Dig these movie-drenched pages and those in-depth descriptions and schedules. Just call 1-800-TCM-1002, and each month you'll be able to look up when your favorite movies will be on Turner Classic Movies. Now Playing. Right now, it's over 50% off the cover price for a year's worth of movie schedules and so much more. It's Now Playing. So call 1-800-TCM-1002 or send check or money order to Now Playing, P.O. Box 420934, Palm Coast, Florida, 32142-0934. And for only $9.97 per year, get your ticket to movie heaven from Turner Classic Movies. Allow 6 to 12 weeks for delivery.
Hi, and welcome to Turner Classic Mail, where you answer your questions about classic movies. I'm Robert Osborne. And Sadie Minkin from Waterville, Maine, wrote our website to ask, I have two questions about Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest. What does the title mean? I can't figure out what it has to do with the movie. And the house at the end of the movie, was it an actual building or a set? If it already existed, who designed it? Well, thanks for your question, Sadie, and you're not the only one who's been confused by the title of this film. The movie itself came about because Alfred Hitchcock always wanted to do a chase sequence across the faces of Mount Rushmore for a movie. He finally got the chance to do just that at MGM, and even wanted the title of this movie to be The Man in Lincoln's Nose. But MGM wouldn't go for that, so at various stages of the script, the movie was called Breathless and In a Northwesterly Direction, before finally becoming North by Northwest. Now, the exact meaning of the title is a bit obscure, but it's taken from Act 2 of Shakespeare's Hamlet, when Hamlet says, I am but mad north, northwest, When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw. And so the title North by Northwest could be a clue to the complex plot of the movie, where no one is who he appears to be, and there's a constant misdirection and displacement of the characters in the film. Or who knows? Might be Hitchcock's little joke and mean absolutely nothing. As to your second question, the Mountaintop Retreat is designed after a real house by famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Hitchcock used a miniature of the house for the long exterior shots and recreated parts of the interior and the exterior on a soundstage. Thanks for writing. If you're interested in this or any other classic movie, check our website or go to the program schedule to see when a movie's going to be shown. And we love receiving your letters, so write to us online via TurnerClassicMovies.com or go to AOL keyword TCM. And don't forget to include your name, how to pronounce it, and where you live.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation.
Under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty.
And justice
for all.
Today on Turner Classic Movies, it takes a team effort of soldiers, scientists, and journalists in an Arctic wasteland to fend off the advances of the thing from another world. Then when the sun goes down, our night of vampire classics sinks its teeth into Vampire. And the shadow of vampire Max Schreck falls across the victims of Nosferatu. Turner Classic Movies is the antidote to your pain in the neck here today.
Each day, as thousands of persons visit the chain stores in their neighborhoods, their journey carries them past powerful messages advantageously placed on nearby poster panels. These hundreds of thousands of buyers repeatedly receive up-to-the-minute information concerning products necessary to their daily living.
Grace Kelly.
Spencer Tracy.
Vincent Minnelli.
Typical Hollywood story.
Damn good actors.
Judy Garland. They didn't know what to do with her. They knew that she had talent. In Broadway Melody in 1938, they decided to do a number called You Made Me Love You.
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
They had Judy sing this to a fan picture of Clark Gable, and it was a sensation.
The very mention of your name sends my heart reeling. You made me love
Roger Edens discovered Judy Garland. He wrote Dear Mr. Gable for her. He made her and created the sound that we hear today as Judy Garland.
Way over the rainbow, way up high.
You are the most precocious, overconfident, spoiled young man I've ever had the misfortune to meet.
I think you're cute, too.
I saw her at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood with her sisters, called the Gum Sisters. And she sang a song that has stayed with me all my life. She sang, "Zing
with the strings of my heart."
Judy Garland, I'm convinced they just plain worked her to death. It was when Louis B., when she was really sick, the doctor said, she's exhausted. He said the quote may not be exact, but it's pretty close, that she is a product that belongs to the studio and or me. As a product, she will be worked as we see fit.
I felt so badly for Judy. We were on the float together, Santa Claus float. She was on one side, Santa Claus was in the middle, and I was on the other side. When we got onto the float, she looked at me and she said, "Have you eaten yet?" I said, "Not yet, but I hear they're gonna feed us at the end of the parade." Santa was throwing out all these candy canes and everything, and I look over and there's Judy munching on the candy canes. I mean, like, this was her last meal. And when we got there, we were all very hungry. So me and Judy got up to go get some food. Some man came over to Judy and took her away from the banquet table. I got my goodies, and I came back to the table, and there was Judy with a glass of water. And they wouldn't allow her to eat, and I felt so badly for her.
Judy had a hard time growing up at the studio, but it was at a different time than when I came in. They couldn't do what they did to Judy, which was work her all night and give the pills to stay awake and then fall asleep.
If Santa Claus brings me any toys, I'm taking them with me. I'm taking all my dolls, the dead ones too. I'm taking everything.
Of course you are. I'll help you pack them myself. You don't have to leave anything behind.
Actually, Meet Me in St. Louis went very smoothly. That was a very happy time for Judy Garland because she was going with Vincent Minnelli. And she was very happy with him at that time. And this was a happy period in her life. So she was very sweet to work with, and she just seemed like my big sister.
If you like me like I like you, and we like both the same.
I made her last film with her at MGM. It's called Summer Stock. I played her sister. There is a treasure for me, because she was the most incredible person. Funniest woman I've ever been around. But just a terrific lady with a terribly mixed up life.
Who else could do everything? She could make us cry. But she was also the funniest lady alive. She could make me fall off my seat with laughter. And there was that voice, and the face, and the eyes. She had it all.
Adore him, so I can't ignore him. The boy next
Judy Garland shines a little brighter in A Star Is Born, Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern, here on Turner Classic Movies.
You have a wonderful future. I see a man in your life.
What, only one? Give me my fine furs and fancy gowns. I found a new way to go to town. I'm high. Yes, ma'am. I'm low. Takes a good man to break me. Sure does. No man can shake. I know it. Until I let him go. Yes. Hold on, girl. Come on. Hold on, girl. I like sophisticated men to take me out.
Well, I'm not really sophisticated.
Well, you're not really out yet either. You got me.
Why did you admit knowing so many men in your life?
Well, it's not the men in your life that counts, it's the life in your men. You worked your spell on me. I'll make your demand. I want you, I need you. Your love must be mine, oh baby, baby. You better come up and see me.
Come one, come all, we're gonna have a ball. Just leave your cares and woes and let your troubles fall. You'll find a starry sky behind that cloud you're under. It's such a perfect time for one real wonders.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, we're putting away the garlic for an evening of vampire classics. First, Danish director Carl Dreyer puts forth his idea of the living undead with Vampyr. Then mysterious actor Max Schreck sucks the life out of director F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu, followed by Roman Polanski and Jack McGowan and the spoofish The Fearless Vampire Killers, or Pardon Me, But Your Teeth Are in My Neck. So this is your idea of a date on Turner Classic Movies tonight?
I'm an advertising man, not a red herring. I've got a job, a secretary, a mother, 2 ex-wives, and several bartenders dependent upon me. And I don't intend to disappoint them all by getting myself slightly killed.
Cary Grant becomes a secret agent against his will. Propelled at gunpoint onto the highest level of international intrigue and framed for murder. Cary Grant, running for his life, searching for a man who doesn't exist, and a secret nobody knows, and finding a blonde who has all the answers.
Hello there.
Tell me, why are you so good to me?
Shall I climb up and tell you why?
At breakneck speed, they race together toward the excitement that lies dead ahead, north by northwest.
How do I know you aren't a murderer?
You don't.
Cary Grant, Eva Marie Saint, and James Mason as the man of sinister surprises.
Apparently, the only performance that'll satisfy you is when I play dead.
Your very next role. You'll be quite convincing, I assure you.
The perfect setup for suspense. With the perfect woman and the perfect crime. As Alfred Hitchcock takes you north by northwest.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, and welcome and happy Halloween. Thanks for spending some of this ghoulish time with us. And I have to say, we have a perfect lineup of films for you to watch as you wait for the trick-or-treaters. We're going to bring you a festival of vampire tales, some spooky and one quite funny, beginning with a film that's having its TCM premiere. It's Vampyr from 1932, and a film by the noted Danish director Carl Dreyer, the man who also made the film The Passion of Joan of Arc. In fact, this film was his follow-up to that silent classic. Our movie also marks Dreyer's first talking picture. Now, when the word got out that the man responsible for the very stylistic and atmospheric film about St. Joan was going to make a horror film, people knew they were going to be in for something special, and they were not disappointed. In this film, Dreyer and his cinematographers Rudolf Maté and Louis Ney create a very eerie world of the supernatural. The story is based on a novel called In a Glass Darkly, and it's a story of a man vacationing in a town he discovers is under the control of a vampire. Now, when you watch this film, do keep in mind that it was seen in the U.S. by audiences almost a year after the release of Dracula and Frankenstein. So fright films were big business at this time, and as you're about to see, not the exclusive domain of Hollywood filmmakers. Vampyr was shot entirely on location outside of Paris, using an old dilapidated castle that served as both a location for the film and a place to lodge the cast and crew. Here from 1932, Vampyr. The director of this film, Carl Dreyer, did not like to use real actors. He always preferred using non-professionals. And the cast of Vampyr consisted of people that Dreyer met randomly on the streets of Paris. The vampire, for instance, was played by a French widow. The doctor was actually a Polish journalist. Giselle was an artist model, and the role of David Gray was played by the film's producer, using the pseudonym of Julian West. The only professional actors in this film were Sybil Schmitz, who played Leon, and Marie Schultz, who played the old man. Up next, our salute to Halloween continues with another vampire. So get out some garlic and get ready for a visit from Count Orlok.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, German auteur F.W. Murnau brings to the screen one of the greatest vampire classics, starring the creepy Max Schreck as Nosferatu. Then Roman Polanski directs and stars in the vampire spoof, The Fearless Vampire Killers, or Pardon Me, But Your Teeth Are in My Neck. And 150-year-old vampire Jonathan Fritt is accidentally released from his coffin in House of Dark Shadows. Turner Classic Movies prefers the red wine here tonight.
Show me a hero, and I will write you a tragedy.
About a little girl. Her name is Gigi. Oh, she looks adorable. So fresh, so eager, so young. Thank heaven for little girls. 4 little girls get bigger every day.
Yes, Gigi was so eager, so young, but not too young to learn about making herself shine in the eyes of some lucky man.
We don't marry, is that it? Instead of getting married at once, it sometimes happens we get married at last.
She was raised to raise eyebrows, but Gigi more enjoyed raising the roof.
That since the world began, no woman or a man has ever been as happy as we are tonight.
Voila! It's a gay and taunting Paris that takes love so seriously and marriage so lightly. And what is a picture about gay Paris without Maurice Chevalier? He had once been the twinkle in Grandmama's eye.
We met at 9.
We met at 8.
I was on time.
No, you were late.
Ah, yes? I remember it well. You must be carefree. Devil may care. Be gay, extravagant, outrageous.
Gigi is dedicated to your zestful entertainment. A feast for your heart and senses in eye-thrilling CinemaScope and Metro Color, lilting with the exciting melodies of Lerner and Loewe.
Say a prayer for me tonight. I'll need every prayer.
I'm so glad that I am not young anymore.
Oh, Gigi, while you were trembling on the brink, was I out yonder somewhere blinking at a star?
Making a movie out of a Broadway musical can be as risky as Fiddling on the Roof. Taking the wildly successful 1964 musical Fiddler on the Roof from the Broadway stage to the big screen was a huge undertaking that landed squarely on the capable shoulders of director Norman Jewison. The director was best known for dramatic movies such as The Cincinnati Kid and In the Heat of the Night. Fiddler was his first experience filming a musical. He had avoided them in the past, believing they belonged essentially on the stage. But Fiddler's strong story was something that attracted him to the project.
Because of our traditions, every one of us knows who he is and what God expects him to do.
It's all about Tevye, a poor Jewish milkman living in Ukraine in the early 1900s, trying to accept the changes that the modern world bestows upon him and his family, played out against a backdrop of political and religious tension.
Personally, I don't know why there has to be this trouble between people, but I thought I should tell you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The crisis of the story revolves around Tevye's 3 eldest daughters and his plans for their future, as opposed to their own plans.
Papa, I don't want to marry him.
You're not asking for my permission.
But we would like your blessing, Papa.
Yet can I. We want to be married.
What? Are you out of your mind?
The starring role of Tevye was played to Broadway audiences' delight by Zero Mostel. At the time, many thought Mostel should have gotten the movie role, but Jewison cast 36-year-old Israeli actor Topol, who had wowed London audiences with his warmer, more dignified interpretation of the character.
If I were a rich man, yabba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dibba-dum.
After a 4,000-mile trip scouting locations, Jewison chose sites with old-world authenticity just outside Zagreb, Yugoslavia, to become the little town of Anatevka. He wanted the film to have the earthy feeling of the land, so virtually the entire movie was shot with a woman's nylon stocking placed over the camera's lens to give the film this subtle brown tone.
Grandma, I found him! Will you be a lucky bride? He's handsome, he's tall. That is, from side to side.
The biggest challenge was getting the musical numbers to come off as realistic as possible. Jewison felt film had a certain element of reality that often became artificial as soon as the characters broke into song and dance. However, he tried to make the transition less abrupt by keeping the choreography to a minimum and having the singing and dancing scenes seem as normal as possible. For example, it's natural for people to sing and dance at a wedding.
Everybody dance!
And it apparently worked. Aside from its popularity at the box office, this 1971 film was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director, winning for Best Cinematography, Best Scoring, and Best Sound.
But do you love me?
Do I love him?
Well?
There are those who still argue that justice is not served when a musical is transferred from the stage to the screen, but Fiddler on the Roof is an excellent example of one that succeeds.
Join TCM as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of Fiddler on the Roof. Saturday, November 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern, immediately following the premiere of the documentary Fiddler on the Roof, 30 Years of Tradition at 8. Only on Turner Classic Movies.
Back on the theater screen, one of the world's great romances. Dr. Zhivago. David Lean's Academy Award-winning film of love and conflict, set in the turbulent years of the Russian Revolution.
They've shot the Tsar and all his family.
Omar Sharif as Zhivago, a man of peace and passion, torn between two loves. Geraldine Chaplin as his wife, Tanya. Julie Christie as Lara, the character that inspired one of the greatest musical scores of all time. With Alec Guinness. And Rod Steiger as the political opportunist who also seeks Lara's love. Dr. Zhivago. Both picture and sound restored to their original glory. Dr. Zhivago. Coming soon to selected theaters.
This Week in Hollywood History!
This Week in Hollywood History. 1939, fellow Warner Brothers stars Ronald Reagan and Jane Wyman announced their engagement. That's what I call a studio contract. 1957, longtime MGM studio head Louis B. Mayer dies of leukemia at the age of 72. Hollywood will never forget you, Mr. Mayer. 1963, actress Elizabeth Taylor visits her husband Richard Burton, who is on location in Mexico shooting John Huston's film, Night of the Iguana. How on earth will he get any work done? And so it was, This Week in Hollywood History.
It's a celluloid city with a million stories waiting to be told. You'll never want to leave this place. Turner Classic Movies.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, and our next vampire classic, like our last one, also serves up a lot of thrills. This next one comes from 10 years before Vampire. It's the original silent version of Nosferatu from Germany in 1922 and directed by F.W. Murnau, a man who was one of the lions of the early German film industry. And it was in Germany pre-Hitler where he made Nosferatu and other classic films before moving to Hollywood. Once in California, Murnau made only 4 films before his life was cut short by a tragic car accident. But you know, today, 66 years after his death, his name is still known and respected by film buffs and cinema students, primarily because of this movie we're about to see. Nosferatu is the film which inspired Hollywood to put out the welcome mat for Murnau, as a matter of fact. It's a vampire movie quite clearly based on Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, and it certainly has all the elements of Dracula. It's got a bloodthirsty vampire, an isolated castle, and a virginal heroine who doesn't have a clue as to the danger she's in. Now, unfortunately, the producers of the film neglected to get proper permission to turn Bram Stoker's book into a movie. That resulted in a lawsuit that kept Nosferatu from being shown for several years. When it was finally shown in the U.S., it was basically seen only in various truncated forms, until a couple of years ago, when it was restored, probably as fully as it ever can be. And we now bring you that restored version. From 1922, the granddaddy of all vampire movies, Nosferatu, directed by F.W. Murnau.